Just become good afternoon. So if anybody is wondering, this is going to be a very interesting afternoon for us. There's a couple of things that we've done is as a panel we've discussed at least for an hour and a half, so you'd at least get what I requested the panel is processed information on this topic. It's a pretty interesting topic given to us. The way we want to cover the next 30-35 minutes is we want to keep it very clear that we want to take sides, and we want you to bring out your questions and your thoughts to the rich experience that is on the stage out here and see if those are getting addressed. Loyalty in today's day and time, which is, as of today, is a very interesting subject. It has become a little bit more interesting thanks to 8th of November, where our lives have been kind of tinkered around, if I might put it mildly. And so we have a very interesting panel which kind of covers most of the elements which touch individuals' life and also the life of channel and also the life of what we believe is the end consumer who is at the end of this whole piece. Segment-based loyalty versus generic hop-on, hop-off based loyalty. And the way we look at it from an outside-in perspective, there's a fundamental shift happening over the last 2, 3, 4 years. In fact, more so in the 12 to 18 months. And I'm sure each one of you as a consumer is feeling. The enterprise is not willing to take any more consumer-led services. It's actually empowering us, the consumer. The channel wants to empower the end consumer. The empowerment of the customer is becoming extremely critical. And that's why we are being hounded every day on the news dailies with a bunch of ads which say that, hey, go ahead and be empowered. Whether it is wallets, whether it's loyalty programs, whether it is segment specific, whether it is generic, whichever way. And this empowerment is leading to a big question in the minds of people is, are we seeing a shift? Are we seeing a trend? Or are we seeing something very fundamental happening on the consumer space? And that's what we are going to discuss today, that if as a brand, as an industry, as a segment, I want to have a bunch of customers who love me, who want to be associated with me, what's the best way to kind of deal with this situation? And there are multiple vehicles. Each vehicle has their own pluses and minuses. Each vehicle comes at a cost. But is there, first of all, a concept of loyal customer, given the fact that most of us twiddle our thumbs to look at the best deal? So why should even I have a very specific program to get into a customer loyalty engine, if I might say? Or the larger, broader question that many of us have played around with it, that, hey, there is a hop-on, hop-off program, and I can straight away jump into that, which is a generic program, which could be in my industry program, and I can interplay the customer around it. There's one more piece which is coming very fundamental in the last 12 to 18 months is experience delivery, which I just touched upon at the very beginning. Today, a sales and a marketing professional is being judged not by the program or the capability of the channel, but also is what's the experience that you're delivering. And how much of that is actually a part of the loyalty engine is something that we need to talk about. So without spending much time trying to give you more generic guidelines, what I have requested each of my panelists is to spend 3 to 4 minutes to start with a brief overview, their perspective about the topic. And then we get into small discussion among ourselves if we have questions, if I have questions. Open it to you guys, and then come back for the last 1 minute where they're going to give you an immersive view of those 2 things which have gone right for them and that one thing which they believe hasn't gone right or they could have done differently. So it's a very specific piece which I want all of us in the room to have some key takeaways. So without taking much time, Siddhartha, we'll start with you and I'll go and catch up with my seat while you start speaking.
When I started my career 20 years back with levers, I think one thing that we were taught, the brand pyramid, all you marketeers would be aware of it. You know, get the awareness, get the value proposition right, get the trials done, get repeat, and then you will have loyalty. And that's something, once you create a loyal customer, you're done. And that's how the brand pyramid will keep shifting. Unfortunately, in today's world, loyalty is becoming very, very difficult. Yeah. Um, Loyalty can be changed because the disruption that is happening at a very, very fast pace. Does this mean that loyalty has no value and only price, availability, convenience is going to be really disrupting the loyalty? My personal view is no. Loyalty is something that in the long run will be valued more by the consumer. However, assuming that with the same set of product and the same services that you're delivering, you can continue to have loyalty is something that the marketeers and the businesses will have to really think about. My personal view is between having a program that is very brand specific or an organized specific versus a general platform is a very difficult question, and Meru has tried both the things. We launched a program which was called as Meru Select, and at the same time we also toyed with the idea of working of how to get consumers use more often being on a generic loyalty program. But our key takeout, so both these things continue to run simultaneously at this point of time, but my view is that there are three things that are going to be the key enabler for any loyalty program to run. The first thing is any loyalty program today has to have its own TOMA. You know, the top of mind awareness of that loyalty program has to be very, very high. And therefore, any category or any product, if it is a daily usage or at least 3 or 4 times a week usage, can have the ability to have its own program. But if it is something that will not be used 3-4 times a week, then it is best to get onto some platform where you will get the awareness at a very high level. That's point number 1. The point number 2 is you have to be very clear that what channel is where your product and service is going to be sold, and depending upon that channel, you have to decide whether you want to have your own loyalty program or do you want to have a common loyalty program. You know, because if most of your consumers are going to be on the digital thing, then communicating with them is much easier, much more specific and targeted if it is a single program specific to your brand, etc. But if it is going to be your consumer or your services or product are sold in a hyper mall, in a retail outlet which has many multiple brands which are going to be there, getting that kind of high awareness about your product over there is going to be difficult, and therefore you will have to then better to tie up with the shopper stop or whatever is there. That's the second. My third thing, and which I think I am with every passing day my conviction is only increasing. I think the way payments is going to happen in this country is going to significantly change. I have been seeing that trend for last 3-4 years, but 8th November has really changed the way things are going to happen. So for whatever you may do, payment is something that has to be made, whether it is services, whether it is your own product, goods, etc. And therefore, if you can tie up with any of the wallets and create a sort of a loyalty program over there, it will create a huge value for you and for the consumer. You know, that's the thought process Meru went by. And even before the demonetization happened, we had all the 4 wallets on our app. You know, so because we believe, what is a wallet? Wallet is something that is fungible. You can use money for whatever purpose you want to use, and that's where one of our competitor has their own wallet. We believe that can be used only for their services or for very limited services, but if it is attached to a wallet which can be used for any other purpose, you can keep putting the money over there. The technology-wise, creating separate wallets within a wallet for Meru or for any other product is something now very easy possible. So if any loyalty, any payback you want to give to the consumer can be stored separately, that can be used only for your purpose. So those are the things which are going to be there. So key takeaway, it has to be daily usage. Depending upon the channel, you will be required. And I think payments wallets are going to make really big difference in terms of loyalty for a customer. Yeah.
Thanks, Sanjay. Vani, all yours.
I think I want us to step back and kind of first reason out that why exactly one brand needs loyalty and why do we fuss about a loyalty program. It is pretty simple that when you acquire really to retain customers, but then you kind of run a loyalty tag on it because you want to kind of retain and celebrate your most profitable customers and hopefully drive profitability for the brand. That's like the primary guideline why you would run a loyalty program. And I think it's important to first establish that why would you need a loyalty program at the first go. So if your strategy is acquisition and your business is in an acquisition phase, look for a program or look for a platform which will help you build that equity. If you are, of course, at a retention phase, then there are different dynamics which come into play. I'm a strong advocate of a segment-specific program, and I'd like to share with you our experience at Axis Bank. We run the largest, bank-wide loyalty program in the country today. On Axis Bank, we've got about 1.65 crore people. That's pretty much all retail banking base, which is on the program. And we have different proposition for different customers. So when we kind of were brainstorming and putting up our strategy, that first, why do we need a loyalty program? It emerged from the fact that banking is a very, very regulated industry. People can switch, the cost of switching is very less. You can pick up a loan from someone, a credit card from someone. You can pretty much bank with everyone. Every customer has at least 2 or 3 banks. And therefore, what is your brand differentiation? Of course, there's a huge play of service and there's a huge play of other things you tend to play, the pricing game. But what is that compelling reason for the customer to kind of keep coming back to you? And it is beyond, of course, and we don't have retention challenges because, once you open an account, you just stop kind of using that account, but you kind of hang around and, you don't really kind of close it and move out of a bank, because the process takes that much more longer. So for us, it was about how do we celebrate our customers, how do we get them more engaged, how do we ensure that they buy that next product with us, they service, use our services, how do we become a primary banker for our customers. And that's where the loyalty kind of, the idea crept in that yes, it's a huge, brand advocate product because it will help customers, give that identity to them that yes, there are individual products in the bank. You do have a credit card or a debit card or Forex, but here the bank, the bank is looking at you as one customer, and therefore there is a loyalty benefit or rewards benefit out of it. So I'm doing what I'm doing with the bank, but I'm getting little extra because I'm part of this bank. The other reason for us where we chose to go with the strategy was really owning the customer experience. We are a out-and-out customer program out there, and it is important for the customer to feel and that last mile delivery which is happening, which is from the bank. Because when you're on a generic program, there's likelihood that that last experience comes to you from that generic program brand, and it really doesn't matter, right, that who actually funded it at the at the back of it. But here we build up a proposition which was completely owned by it. So when you come to the bank site, you can see your reward points, you can actually experience it on the mobile app, you have various reward options to see what your transaction history is, and there's a whole lot of interaction which happens on that platform, with the consumers. Whereas, in the generic programs, obviously once you give away the points, they kind of get handed over. You even have to call up the contact center of a generic program holder, who's going to manage your the relationship, and that brand loyalty just ends with the fact that you have funded those points. And we really didn't want to do it. And in the earlier conversation, as we clearly stated, that yes, the brand has to be top of mind, and that's why it made sense for us. We chose to build our brand. We call it the Edge Rewards Program, and we invested into the brand to kind of set it up with our customers and to drive that relationship with them. So from a bank, for us, from being a bank, it kind of worked very beautifully for us We give reward programs across the banking relationship. It dwelled into our strategy of it leading into the brand advocacy. It drives the agenda of retaining our most loyal customers. It drives our agenda of being able to upsell, cross-sell to our customers, and most importantly, own that customer experience through this journey. So the customer believes he's got something extra because of the bank and because of being part of the program, and not about just being a handoff to the customer.
I have two different views on this subject. How many of you are a part of any generic loyalty program? Generic, collation loyalty word, that works better? Okay, some hands here. Okay, so what would I want as a customer, right? Let me first answer that, because I think as a customer, I would love to have a program which, or an engagement with a brand or a program or whatever you want to call it, where I get rewarded for my different experiences which I have with whatever I do in different purchases which I do across, because I'm spending money, and that's what marketeers are trying to reward through a different system, which is, let's say, a loyalty program. Now, typically, what are the elements which work and which a lot of people try to create is, if you take some examples of international market, then you want to create, let's say, something like Air Miles in UAE, you want to create something like Nectar in UK, for the reason being that when I as a customer go out and do any purchases, whether it is shopping, whether it is fueling, whether it is going to any transaction which I do, whether it is movies or whatever you do in your day's life, you get something which you can collect, and you are able to reward yourself with those points. That's typically what a loyalty program should do for a customer. Now, the point is that has India seen any of it? So as some of you raise your hands, you are a part of some loyalty program, some generic loyalty program. Now, the interest of the marketeers is very good. The intent a lot of times is very good, because the marketeers want to bring this ecosystem together and reward the customer. Of course, they have their own interests and you want the customer to be engaged, then there is cross-sell and all that happens. But the intent of a marketeer is that they're able to put this marketplace together and reward the customer. But because of the diversity of the country and the geography, I myself have been associated with some of the coalition loyalty program. It becomes a challenge to get all these partners together under one roof. Some people have been partially successful in doing that. Some programs are still trying to reach it to the next level. Now, this was something which was happening, let's say, 2002, 2003 onwards, when people started making an effort to create a group or a generic or a coalition loyalty program. But as the industry changed, and now the things are so much digital, mobile has come over, so everybody wants things on the fingertips. Dynamics of the industry have completely changed. So the marketplace has become more online, so you can get online, you can create an online ecosystem, you can offer things to the customer. With these changes, as a customer, I still want a program which rewards me for everything that I do in my day's job. Does any program do it? For me as a customer, I don't think so. Does any program, do I know of any program as a customer? You talk to 10 customers outside, do I know of any loyalty program? They don't even know what a loyalty program is, right? Half the times, the industry is challenged to even educate people what the loyalty program is supposed to do, right? So that's what I feel from a customer's point of view. Now let's go to what I do as a marketer. I feel that over a period of time, what I believe in is channel loyalty is something which works very beautifully and can really use, whether it is segmentation or whether it is being specific to the customer value proposition for any target audience. So right now at India First Life Insurance, what we do is we do loyalty programs for employees, we do loyalty programs for different channels which we have. And for each of these segments, as we cut them off, we have a very specific customer value proposition defined for each, the benefits. And of course, since the programs are recent, you have the digital angle in it, they are web enabled, they are mobile responsive, you can do things on your mobile. So all that, I guess, everybody is doing today. But the challenge still remains that although I as a marketer, as an individual marketer, I am giving whatever best I can do to make the best of this engagement, but is my reward or are my rewards fulfilling all his needs? The answer may be no. I as a marketer, am I able to leverage on various opportunities, for example, demonetization? Of course, like a lot of other marketers, we also sent an email, we also did some offers to customers saying, you have this loyalty program, you have this platform, go redeem. Instead of money, you can redeem through points. But does that solve the problem? No. But yes, if, let's say I had a program which I could use across for everything as a platform, then maybe I would have been able to resolve the situation or really provide the benefit to the customer in a much better way. So I feel that channel loyalty really can get specific and address a lot of segmentation, and we use a lot of data, we use a lot of analytics to create these benefits. In fact, this is a quarterly exercise for us, that how is the redemption behavior changing, how are the trends of the business, and therefore how do we change the value proposition which we are offering to the customer. We are able to do it beautifully because we have a control on these segments, because these are our segments. But my personal view, to do it for a larger base, for us as a customers, for different customers, for the larger base, it still remains an interesting and challenging proposition. And as a customer, I still am waiting for that program for this country. I really hope that as marketeers, as leaders, we are able to somewhere create a program like that which can really benefit the end customer. Yeah.
Thanks. Moving to you, Sanjay, retail, different beast.
Yeah, so I want to see it from a different spectrum over here. I think the customers for all of us are fleeting, and we are always in search of more of them. So for me, a loyalty program or a CRM program is something which probably is a need of the organization more so ever than the customer. So I genuinely feel that the customer is doing us a favor by patronizing my brand or my products versus me rewarding. And so it's not about the customer seeking something more out of me. It's me wanting to gratify the customer because he's been patronizing my brand, and I want him to keep patronizing my brand. So I think the way we marketers should really look at it is, are we creating reasons and ways of getting back to the customer and saying thank you to him, versus creating offers and all which probably lures or bribes the customers to be with the product or the brand. So that's just to begin with. More so ever, I feel this whole debate between whether you should be on a generic one or you should be on a specific segment, specific loyalty program. I feel for every organization and every brand and every product or service, the needs are very different at different times. So there is no one answer to which one should subscribe to. And I think both have their own pros and cons. There are sure advantages with either one of them. And I believe that whatever works well for us should be done versus just being very stereotypical and saying, okay, let me get onto one of the platforms. As far as loyalty programs are concerned, I feel the nomenclature out here is something which is demeaning to a customer. I feel I don't want to be loyal to somebody. I would rather want the nomenclature to change to something which is much more richer, which is much more indicative of a relationship that we enter into, versus it kind of sounds like slavery to me. I'm loyal to somebody. It's not something I really want. And especially for a customer for whom we have done so much and for whom we toil so much to get him into to my store for, let me talk about Spykar specifically. So I think the way we should look at this whole program is not from a loyalty perspective. It's more to do with how do you establish a relationship, how do you progress on a relationship, and how do you see to it that this relationship gets deeper by your understanding the customer. So maybe collating the data would help you get the better kind of solutions for the customer. I have a small example over here which has just happened in this whole demonetization bit. And all these people out here are pretty sound professionals at it. I'm giving an example of somebody who's just a commoner, and he runs a small retail store somewhere in the Madhya Pradesh state. This gentleman had a great relationship with one of his banks, and he's one of the more important customers for a bank. I would not like to name the bank here, but what he did was he actually got the bank in the store and called up his 40 customers who are his regular customers and said, "Aake aap 2000 rupees leke jao." So I think really thinking about your customers, really thinking about how do you make it easy for him, how do you actually show him some gratitude for being so nice and patronizing his, whether it's a shop or a brand, is more important for a customer. It's not necessarily really creating offers, some discounts. In my kind of business, there are discounts like left, right, center everywhere. So 1% going to a customer is really not going to make great difference to that customer. Because today, with the online mess that has been happened, a 20-30% discount is not at all, it doesn't, I mean, so what? So unless it's a 50 or something more than that, the customer doesn't want to step out of his house. Now, in that case, in that scenario, what does that 1% of extra discount that I give him just because you're my regular customer, it doesn't really impact him. So there's something beyond that we need to do. It's beyond those points. And having done all these things, you should be able to, probably make it simpler for him, much more gratifying for him, much more enriching experience for him to redeem those things. A very simple example, I actually came across this yesterday myself only. I used to travel Jet Airways just because I wanted to collect those points. Okay, and I've always felt, and I've never been able to redeem a single point of mine. I don't know, I may be just too stupid on this, but I just find that it's too cumbersome to go on a Jet Airways and redeem my points. It's just so difficult. And then yesterday I tried it from the Infinia HDFC website, and I said, okay, let me try this. I think the whole process was so much more simpler. The same flight on an Infinia was so simple to get through versus a Jet Airways flight from a Jet Airways website. So I feel, what's the point of me collecting so many points on a Jet Airways card, being loyal to that airline or being so patronizing to that airline when I'm not able to really enjoy the benefits of being like that? So I think it's a mix of so many more things to do, and one has to really look at it in a much more wholesome manner, not just be very myopic in the way we look at loyalty programs or CRM. I think it's it's more to do with establishing that relation and continuing on that relationship with that customer.
So Pankaj, arguably you will be the richest person on the stage. And demonetization post that, I don't know what your situation is.
It was.
Was or a couple of days. So how does all this stack up for you?
As far as me is concerned, loyalty is nothing else but the brand recall. So, and I completely take loyalty as a package rather than the only loyalty word. The reason being is that, the very first thing is that as a Gitanjali, we are into branded jewelry. Today, ask anyone here, and the Indian story is every time they go to mom and pop stores to buy the jewelry and generic jewelry. So to overcome that situation and come as a brand was a fight to us. Once you are into that branded jewelry segment, very important is there are two types of customer. The first customer is the new customer, which you want in your store. And the second customer is to retain them and see to it that in a year they actually buy your jewelry 3 to 4 times. Okay, so that you can create that aura and experience for them that it's a everyday wear jewelry, it's the occasional driven jewelry segment, and you can buy your product. So what I personally understand is that loyalty is not only by just giving points and just by giving some discounts and it is done. It's all about cross-selling. It's all about giving some additional services and benefits. Like sometimes we come up with, get your individual jewelry and go for polish and gill it, and we will give you a free that service from our side to our loyal customer. Sometimes we come up with something called as, we have come up with insurance plan, and we take even insurance, okay, when you buy your jewelry. So it's all about channel segment. It's all about not only your customer. Sometimes we also go to our staff, okay, and we tell them that if you maintain a good relationship with your customer, you will be again given benefit out of that. So sometimes what happens that a customer comes, watch the, maybe their mobile or some offer is there and they come to the store. It doesn't mean that they are going to buy your product. So at that time, my staff is also equally equipped with my new innovative ideas, my new innovative jewelry, because it's loyalty doesn't mean the way he said that it's all about just giving points. What you need is a good innovative product. What you need is even some new services or some kind of trust and authentication. Like we give every diamond third-party certificate. We give hallmark jewelry. So when customer is going to X and he's coming to our store, we need to show that how superior are we compared to him when we sell our product. So it's all about the package, what we understand. And loyalty in my word is nothing else but you have to give them additional services. You have to pamper, like every time we have tea, we want biscuits with that. So what we need is rather than only giving them discounts and offers, we need to see that how we can maintain that customer and come up with new innovative ideas. Now we are coming up with some new collection. We call them for cheese and wine or some type of event where we call our all the loyalty customers and we give them some different offers, some different new ideas. Whenever we are coming up with some new product, we tell them that you are the first one to get this product in the market. So they feel always pampered that, yeah, I'm getting something which is plus than the market. I'm getting something which is new coming in the store. I'm getting something over and above as a service from my staff. So sometimes we come up with the same offer through our jeweler or through our franchise. So at that time, if we come up with even the channel partners offers, so that they also try to see that if we achieve this target, we will get some points or some credit. So they also try to come up with us in the market and see that how we grow together. So it's the channel specific, it's the point driven, it's the service added things. Overall, if you see everything, you will come to the stand where we can say it's a loyalty program. Even we try to sell through Shopper Stop, Pantaloons, Lifestyle. We even try to catch their Shopper Stop loyalty card holders. And we see to it that, you know, we give something additional to them also so that they can be also part of us. And within the mall, if there are some 10 brands, how they buy our product. We give them again additional services and try to get them into the counter.
Start, Pankaj, this week. Got about 30 seconds. Two key takeaways and one thing which is not working out for your loyalty program. Yours or it could be generic also.
The first one is that, as I told you, every time we see our loyal customers, we try to call them for cleaning and servicing of their product, their old jewelry, other jewelries. We try to give.
That service is one.
That service is one. Second is regarding, we have, let's say, thousands of loyalty card holder. Out of that, 30% or 40% doesn't turn around. At that time, we come up with special scheme for there, where we give them insurance, where we give them.
It's more of the engagement with the ones.
And we see to it that how we can again convert them.
And one thing which you think is not working well for your industry or the kind of programs your industry has.
Not working is that by giving them additional good discount.
Doesn't work.
On the off season. It's very seasonal affair. So during off season, we try to come up with all this event, but it doesn't
You'll
work.
be in season till March 31st.
No.
So Sanjay, yours.
So I feel what works for us is that with all the data, you can really figure out much more that the customer needs, and you can actually segmentize and actually work on specific geographies. So on that front, I think the whole program works very well. I feel the generic bit is a little difficult for us to work on because, what has not worked, we've tried the generic ones, but somehow we felt that they really don't provide the solution that we seek. And I feel that my vote will go in favor of something which is more segment oriented.
More specific to the thing. Great. Ashish, yours. What's working, what's not?
So for us in the program, I think what's working for us is the differential value proposition which we have created for different segments. That has led to the extent of people craving to the next level and therefore creating an incremental business for us. And if you're getting incremental business from the loyalty program, what else do you want? That's one thing which has worked. And the other thing is the wow and the surprises and the elements which you add to the program, whether the word used by Pankaj was experiences. So those wow experiences have created a beautiful impact on the program. In fact, one of the messages which I got during Diwali was, "Thank you, sir. because of this program, I was able to buy a washing machine, not through money, but through points. So it's beautiful to receive such messages. So these two things have really worked. What doesn't work for us as a program is when we do, for us to find the right partner, and this, I know there will be some loyalty agencies also sitting over here, but to find a partner who can seamlessly, beyond providing out of the box solution, can work with us and evolve with us in as we grow in the market and the things which we want to do as a marketer.
More of the co-creation along with
Yeah, in the co-creation. So you seriously don't have such agencies is what I feel right now.
Okay, that's a big one. Vani, two things, what's working and one not.
Yeah, so the two things that kind of worked very beautifully for us. One thing I would say which kind of wish could work for me, where I could beat the interest rates, the fight which the banks happen. I wish that I could go back and say, listen, I'm giving you so many points, but maybe just take that 2% more interest from the bank. I haven't reached there. I'm very hopeful that the program will do that for me someday.
Great. Siddhartha.
So I clearly believe just like money can't buy love, money can't buy loyalty as well. Just by giving points, and most of the young marketeers get boxed into that I have to give a loyalty program, which means I have to give some points and give some money back. It's not about that. Ultimately, the consumer will come back to you and be loyal to you if the value proposition, the reason why he entered into your brand, a relationship with your brand, continues to be there and continues to evolve. Points are important, but not the only thing. So that's one point I would want to leave. The second point I would want to leave is that give consumer a reason. The emotional reason is very, very important. Yeah. I personally believe, I personally experienced, some people say sending a birthday wish, sending an anniversary wish does not work. I can tell you, if the creative and if the language and the emotions have been touched, that's when people emotions will make them loyal. If sending a birthday greeting is a tick mark, I can tell you it will never work. But if you have got the thought behind it and you want to really connect with your customer, there is no better way than doing it on some of these important occasions. And that's where the brand manager, the marketing manager has to continuously keep looking at how do I emotionally connect with the consumer. So these are the 2 points.
What's not working, sir? What's not working? One thing which is not working.
What's not working for us is very clearly, I think some of the panelists also said that giving that extra 1%, 2%, 3% doesn't work. Value for money is going down every day. People look at 50% discount and say, "Bas itna hi." So that's the kind of change which is happening. So we don't believe in giving too much of discounts, and especially just to continue our business. That's not what our philosophy is. So it's not for us.
Well, a big round of applause. They've been very, very honest in at least their assessment. We've completely run out of time, so I'm not going to summarize it, but I was going to leave you with 3 words which I picked up, which I kind of wrote down. It's a package. It's a bunch of emotions that you're dealing with, and there's a whole bunch of empathy that is required for any program to work. So thank you once again. Great stuff, guys. Thank you so much.